armor. It's something to protect yourself, it's something to express yourself. It's not only something to study or something to marvel at, but a gateway into the minds of the people in the past.
Hello everybody, my name's Connor Kitchen. I'm an author, illustrator, armor enthusiast, martial artist, anything you want to call me. But today I have something very special, a review of this Ming Dynasty Northern Frontier Brigandine. Now this armor was mostly used by the northern garrisons. There wasn't many people in the south that had this much coverage. However, I do see illustrations of Udaio's formations wearing similar outfits to this. So that could have been in the north, could have been in the south. I'll have to do some more research on that. But I think that things are more nuanced than we might think. However, this armor seems to fit more of a northern garrison soldier on horseback fighting Mongols. Now, this armor is actually influenced by the Mongols. Apparently, it was invented in the 1400s, and the Chinese took inspiration from that immediately. But brigandine has existed for a long time all across different parts of the world. Some people say it started with Dakota plates in Europe, which is probably true, but there's also convergent evolution. People can make similar things at different places, but the world was very connected. And the Silk Road really brought a lot of trade and information and different kinds of ideas to each culture that participated in the Silk Road. So to claim that, oh, this is Mongol armor, this is European armor, this is whatever armor, this is military tech that has evolved alongside other cultures. So there's no, oh, this person owns this culture owns that. Different cultures even today, and militaries even today, they have comparable technology. So we shouldn't feel so attached to certain things like that. China had their own version of a brigandine, Mongolia had their own version, Europe had their own version. It's okay. We don't need to exclaim that one stole from the other. It's that military tech is comparable across the world, and when you have cultures fighting each other, of course they're going to learn from each other. So now let's talk about the accuracy. Now this armor is very, very accurate. I love it. It looks just like the paintings. There is nothing in my mind that makes me think that this is a bad suit of armor. It's very accurate. You have the conical helmet, you have the lobster arms, you have the neck protector, you have the chest piece, you have everything you need for a northern garrison.
So when we're talking about accuracy here, we're talking about how close does this fit or look like the original examples that we still have. There is a problem with that. There aren't a lot of historical examples that are open to the public for viewing. I do have a couple pictures. That's really all I can go off of, but we mostly go off the paintings. And we can also reference Qing Dynasty armors that still exist today to kind of see what the pattern was for how things developed and what could have came before it. So those help inform, but we also have some antiques that are close to the public. So looking at the helmet, it has the right kind of riveting, the kind of brigandine style that was used for the nape and the cheek protectors. There are some examples with a metal piece with holes in it to help with hearing. This version just doesn't have that, but he does make those, the smith that made this armor. The spear, the flag, the brow ridge, and the armored bill for the helmet, it all matches all of the antiques that we've seen from the Qing Dynasty, some Ming, also Korea, which was heavily influenced by Ming China, and older Mongol armors. So we can make a really good informed decision on what this looks like, and I think he nailed it. Next is the arm protection. I think the arm protection is good. It's designed well. It has plates in the middle and also on the sides to add more rigidity and protection to the arms. I do think that the shoulder pieces, there were different designs historically. We don't have really anything that I've seen. We don't have any Bifu examples that are open to the public per se. So from what we do have, I think this is a good portrayal from what we see in paintings. Now there are versions where the shoulder piece is made out of 3 different plates, and that seems to be the standard that we see for most of the painted depictions. But I believe there were designs that were just one single plate for the shoulders. We see those in Turkic depictions in Persia and a lot of the Arabic world. Next would be the heart armor. There isn't a lot of examples I've seen from the Ming Dynasty, but we do have a lot from the Qing Dynasty. We could also look at the paintings and make a good guess. I think it's a good design. The only thing that I think could have been improved on was having the plate, the heart armor actually buttoned to the front of the coat. This would make it so you don't have to tie this long piece of leather around your body to fasten everything, because if you see in the videos, the plate droops down, and depending on where I had it tied. So that was my mistake. It should have been tied higher. Some clips you see, I do that. But I think it's a good depiction of what they would have looked like, and nothing necessarily wrong with it, besides I think that it's a better idea to fasten it. So next is the gorget. I think it's really good. I don't have a problem with it per se. It's just a little it's kind of hard to look down, I'd say. You have to look down with your hips. You can't look down with your neck. But I do think that it's laced well. I think that it has a lot of mobility. It looks the part that we see in the paintings. So nothing wrong with that at all. I think that he did a good job with it. It could have been maybe like not as tall, like in the neck area. Could have been a little shorter, but that's okay. It still protects my neck very well, and I think he did a good job. So for the coat, the only problem is just that it splits 4 ways. It should split 2 ways. Nothing wrong with that. It still works for what it is, and he's improved it now, so that's good. But all in all, I really do think that this suit of armor is a good depiction if we're going off of paintings and what historical examples that we still have.
Please go to Taobao, check out his shop, and support him, and check out all the armors that he's made. So now let's talk about durability. Can this armor withstand abuse? I think that if you're using foam and plastic or nylon swords, yes, I think this armor could take that. But if you use steel sparring swords, or perhaps like a heavy wooden sparring sword, I wouldn't be so trigger happy to go out and beat this armor up. It's only about 1 millimeter thick on the plates everywhere. I think there's some deviation here and there depending on where you're at on the armor, but I think the helmet is thicker than most of the plates here. The armor is actually pretty thick. I mean, I haven't really had any problems. I actually hit my helmet with a sharp sword on accident, and the helmet took it very well. So I think it's durable. I think it can withstand punishment. It's just, do you really want to beat up this nice suit of armor unless you have like 4 different pairs of them, or 4 different suits of them? I don't think so. This is really nice, and I spar a little bit, so it's held up okay. Nothing wrong with that. But I don't know. I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't use this one. I would prefer like to ask someone else who is used to making combat armor or bowhunter armor, and to fight in this would just be a little scary. You don't know. You just never know. And I don't want any of y'all to get hurt. So I just want you guys to know I spent a lot of money on this. So if anything breaks, please subscribe, please like, please comment. Help me get the money back so I can replace it. But no, I do have another suit coming on the way by Hongguang, and they make some fantastic armor. And we are definitely going to see how well that holds up against various different materials for sparring. Right now I'm going to test how durable this armor is against various different materials that sparring swords can be made out of. I'm going to bring a guest to help me try that. Alright, so right now we're going to test out how foam works, and I have high hopes. I don't think this is going to be bad. So I want you to start by swiping me across the belly. Yeah, see, you don't really feel nothing. How's the blade doing?
Can't really see anything.
Okay. Harder. Yeah, you feel, go ahead. You feel the impact. If you had like a padded garment on under this, it'd be easier to deal with, but getting hit on the belly with it ain't no biggie, especially if it's foam. I want you to hit me on the shoulder. Go ahead. Damn. Screw it. Yeah, you don't want to use foam weapons.
Not ones you like anyway.
Yeah, see, you got the corner. Yep.
Yeah. When it goes up, it's straight against the metal. It's like,
So it goes like that.
yeah.
So yeah, that's how this is designed. It's meant to skate up and stop it if somebody hits you on the shoulder. And you can tell it'll do a lot of damage to a sword if somebody hits you right here. So far it didn't hurt that bad. I feel like if it was heavier, it'd probably hurt more, but it's all right.
It hurt the sword, but not the arm.
Yeah. I guess I'll have to buy a new one.
Yeah, at least it was cheap.
Yeah, it was cheap. You can get one of these for like 20 bucks off of Sword and Armory. Sponsor me. So now I guess go to the helmet. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, you don't feel it. What the hell spun around? I heard something spin.
What's the pole?
Yeah. Foam weapons, no matter how hard you get hit, it ain't gonna bother you, you know. So you can spar with this safely in foam. But now we're gonna move up. So now we're gonna go up to plastic. This is actually a Red Dragon sparring longsword that I got and put a katana, like sparring katana guard on. So you see, so it actually looks like a Shuang Shoujian, and it feels similar to one too. I mean, it's not too bad. So I think this would be a good like nylon sparring Chinese longsword if you had one. So my wife is now gonna whack me with this. Try again. Yeah, you feel a sting. It ain't gonna kill you. It ain't gonna like debilitate you. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you see how it skates off? Yeah, see, it'll rub. Huh?
It won't like.
Yeah, because it's got a round surface, so it'll blow everything off of it. So go ahead. Yeah, see, it'll skate right down. So even if it, and that didn't even really hurt. So if that was a real sword, even if they did use a lot of force, it probably wouldn't stay in the area where they applied the force. The Bifu is designed for things to just slide all the way down. You see how they go upwards? So if somebody does hit something, it's gonna slide down. Even if it was sewn to be downwards, which would be bad in my opinion, because somebody could get right in there and go between them. This is a great design for sword fighting, in my opinion, or any kind of bladed weapon. All right, so now for the scary part, we're gonna put it up against my helmet. I hope to, dear Lord Jesus, it doesn't dent, but we'll see. Ow! It didn't hurt, but it was surprising. You just went, wow, right in the front of my head. Yeah, I mean, it's like you're gonna feel the impact. You're gonna feel a little uncomfortable, but it's gonna be a lot better than if, you know, I didn't have a helmet on. You have this visor and you have this conical shape to kind of blow everything off. Next, we're gonna go to wood. Let's see how good that goes. So this is a Santosh wooden Yanling Dao, and this is heavy. Okay, this would kill somebody. Okay, if you hit them really hard, it's gonna end their life. So that's why you need gear to spar with these. Also, shout out to Santosh. He makes some great weapons. You should go check him out on Santosh Swords. Something. Just look up Santosh Swords on Google. You'll find it. We're gonna be careful. I'm not gonna have her strike very hard. We'll see how it goes. Harder, 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 and strike me.
On the stomach?
Yeah, on the stomach. Let's see. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, you know, it's not bad. I mean, were you putting a lot of strength into it? How much?
How much I can.
You were really trying?
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Okay, so yeah. I guess wood isn't too bad if you're getting struck on your belly or on like the brigandine part. That's not bad. Let's see if it damaged the armor at all. No, everything looks to be fine. All right, that's fine. That's fine. It's fine. How's the sword look? We got a little bit of dentage right there. So if you don't want to mess up your wooden swords, don't spar in this outfit. Don't spar with armor on. You should just get normal fencing gear if you're using wooden swords. Now, say if I just had this brigandine on and then I had like regular fencing gear to, you know, around it, like a fencing helmet, gauntlets, all that, that would be better. But I wouldn't use this full armor to fight with wooden ones. But for the hell of it, I'm just gonna have her hit me in the head. I feel like if somebody really wanted to swing that at my head hard with this helmet, it would probably rock my world. I really think so. It was jarring, but it didn't hurt. Maybe try just a little bit harder. Okay, that was fine. I think if you wanted to spar with these in this kind of armor, you can, but maybe be a little soft because of the weapons. You know, you really don't want to mess with that. But I don't have any steel trainers. Akato Armory, if you want, you know, I would love for you guys to send me some sparring weapons maybe. And I really hope I can do more. So I want you guys to support me. I want to work with more people, and I want to work with some companies. So, you know, please help me out, support me. Thank you guys. All right, so for the last one, since I don't have metal steel trainers, I'm gonna use a wushu sword. just for fun. Let's just see what it does. On guard. Hit me across the belly. Didn't cut me or nothing. I didn't even really feel it. You should stab me with that. Try it again. Try again. Did that do anything?
It doesn't. It might be a little scratch.
No, that's fine. All right, so go for my head. Cut me head off. Oh!
That did not sound good.
I mean, that didn't hurt, but I mean, it certainly felt bad. Like, it felt bad for my armor of the sword. So I think the conclusion is that this armor is actually a lot better than they might give it credit for. The creator might give it credit for. It's held up, you know, like, let's look. Yeah. Look at the arms. It can actually hold up to wooden, foam, and plastic, and even wushu swords. It's a good investment if you just want to goof around in it and are also a really big fan of the Ming Dynasty and want to do a good cosplay. Off of what we did today, I would probably give it like a 8.5. Something like that. Did a good job.
Nothing bad happened.
No, nothing bad happened to the armor, surprisingly, man. That was incredible. So we figured it out that, you know, maybe this armor isn't the worst thing for sparring, but I think over prolonged use, it's definitely going to get beat up. I mean, I feel like that's with any suit of armor, right? So, you know, even though this isn't like the absolute best, made with the best quality steel, you can still have fun with it. So I hope you learned something about this armor. So does this armor feel good to actually fight in or move around in or whatnot? So I think so. I think it feels pretty good. The only thing that I really had trouble with was whenever I go to draw my bow, it'll get caught underneath my shoulder armor or my coat in general and slip underneath the side of it. And that makes it hard to go even back further or to even release. So that's really the only problem I've had. And then, of course, the straps themselves. So the straps were not made with decent buckles that could really hold it together. So me and my friend ended up making our own, and so it'll actually stay attached, and it's been doing a lot better. I haven't had any problems with it ever since. But yeah, I think that it feels good to shoot in. You know, it doesn't mess up like your hip movement or your back muscles being able to move. It allows you to stand up straight. It's not that much of an issue. It's just a little bit of the shoulder design makes it hard to pull the bow back comfortably sometimes, but for the most part, it's good. So, how does it feel to fight with a sword in the armor? So, it actually feels all right. The only thing that I really don't like is that it's kind of hard to go from bringing my arms closed in to shooting outward sometimes. The Bifu, it's designed in a way where sometimes the plates can get caught a tad bit, but for the most part, that's not really an issue. What is the issue is the tailoring for the wrist part. It makes it hard to actually like swivel the sword with your wrist, but that's fine. Just a couple adjustments I got to do. And every suit of armor you get, there's always going to be some adjustments. So don't freak out if the armor doesn't like exactly perfectly fit everything you need it for. So you got to put some work in it yourself, and I did, and it's getting better. So, it just took a lot of time to be able to get used to fighting in it. It's just such an adjustment. I bet there was some pretty heavy training regimens back in the day to get used to fighting in armor. But I think that it's the most mobile suit that has the most coverage in really any East Asian culture. I mean, samurai armor gets pretty good for movement because it was adapted for fighting on foot, but Chinese battle tactics involved a lot of horseback archery and horseback swordsmanship. So that's why there's that middle split to be able to get on your horse, and then there's also to be able to get off of it. You weren't tied to your horse, so you had to be able to get off, fight with a sword, and do the dirty work on both parts. But I think for the most part it's good. You have to rely on your hips a lot to be able to move. You can't use your shoulders as much, or the insides of your arms as much, or your wrists as much. You have to really rely on just being able to use your hips, and that's something I've just learned to get better at as I keep practicing in it. But yeah, I'd say fighting with a sword in this armor, it's definitely something you'll have to adjust to, but it's really cool, man. You feel awesome. I find it practical for swordsmanship, especially the defensive qualities of it, like how the Bifu is designed and the coat. It's really hard to stab through it. It's going to be hard to slash it. The helmet, the shape of that is going to make everything slide off of it. So it's really cool, and the engineering is just so intentional, and I love that. In history, and the way I would see this to be the most practical was that you would have your quiver and your bow sheath tied to the same belt and then have your sword on a separate belt. So when enemies got close enough, you could just take off that one belt that has your bow and quiver, and then you just have your sword and you draw that. So that would make more sense. But it is a very dynamic way of holstering your weapons. You can flip the bow sheath back and forth. You can flip the sword back and forth. So it's useful for if you want to keep everything on your belt as well. But I think it would probably be a lot more practical to take the bow and the quiver off if you were to get into closer combat with a sword, just because there's a chance you could hit your own bow, or too much flopping around. So there's that. But I think that you can shoot a bow, and you can swing a really big sword in this armor, and you can also swing a single-handed sword. And even though it took me some time to adjust to, it still wasn't that like hard of a process. This armor is relatively light, and you can figure out how to work with it. I think you can be more precise and accurate than you would be in like a full European plate harness from the 15th century or 16th century. I think there are advantages to having Eastern armor, especially that's adapted to horseback and being on foot. So you can have a dynamic way of how you want to conduct your training. If you want to do horseback stuff, definitely get into like Mongol or Ming armor, or earlier Japanese armor, and it's just cool. It's cool that it's multi-purposed, and I think that allows for more training avenues. But I think all of the auxiliary pieces are really well designed and allow you to move quite easily. Again, like in my opinion, probably better than some European armors. It offers a lot of protection. You might not be able to move as fast as someone without any armor or very, very light armor, but you can compromise and be a little risky if you want with this kind of armor, because you have a lot of protection and you're pretty mobile. I don't think that it really ties you down that bad. And, you can just be a little bit brave, maybe have them hit you on the helmet, and as long as you come in and get them. So the only thing that I could think of that isn't practical about it is just the way the shoulder piece is designed on this specific piece, because of the tailoring and the way this how thin the skirt is. I think it could have been wider, so it could have protected more of my legs. There are times where my legs just slip out of the skirt, but you have to tie them onto your onto the back of your knee, and then it won't slip as much, but it is kind of annoying if you're wearing a robe underneath. I'm trying to figure out a different way. I'm thinking about actually tying it to my boots, like punching a hole at the top of the boot and then tying it around a plate and put it through the hole. I think that would be a lot more mobile, and you could still have your robe like hanging down and looking cool. If you're conducting horseback archery warfare tactics, right? You have a lot of protection on your back, which allows you to do hit and run kind of tactics. You're quite protected and you're very light. So I think this is a good choice of armor for like training Chinese martial arts, or wanting to get into armored horseback archery, or just enjoying the Ming Dynasty. I mean, they had some pretty good style, don't you think? We get on the price. So the price of this armor was around, I believe, $1,000, and then you had shipping and all that other stuff come in. It totaled around 1,300 USD after everything. Now, is there cheaper armors out there that you can wear? Yeah. Is there cheaper armors out there that you can spar in? Hell no. No, there's not. Really good armor is very, very expensive, and this is actually very good quality for the amount of money that you pay for it. My friend, good friend of mine, Han Liu, he got in contact with Smith Jung for me. I actually just went out of my way randomly and just messaged Han. Like, I didn't even know him. And I was like, hey man, I'm looking for a suit of Chinese armor. Can you help a brother out? And he did. What an amazing guy. And he also does armored displays and shows, like performances in a group of people to show off traditional Chinese martial arts and armor. And I really love that. I really respect that. Really good friend. I think you guys should definitely support him on Instagram. His name's Mekhan on Instagram. But I think the price for this was really good, and I think that it was worth it. Well guys, I hope you learned something today, and I hope you check out this armor. I'm off to go fight in a war I didn't agree with.